Hello and welcome back to Bloodborne vs. the Sleuth, Episode 6, Scoutin. This episode's a bit of a mishmash. It's kind of everything that you can do after you defeat Father Gascoigne. There's no bosses here, there's a bit of me dying, but apart from that, it's just some more secrets and kind of getting into the next stage of Bloodborne. I'm going to start off with the red jeweled brooch, which will kind of bring us to the end of the little girl storyline back in Yharnam. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because we've seen a lot of old Yharnam, but we'll slow down again once we get to the next area of the game. So here I'm just going to journey back to talk to the little girl. And here we are back with the little girl. She asks you if you still can't find her mother. You're given a choice to not give her the jewel brooch or to give her the jewel brooch. I tend to give it to her because I kind of feel like she deserves the truth on the matter. But we get this really sad kind of ending to the story where she's really upset. If you go back to her after this, she'll ask you if there's a safe place. You can take her to the next area we'll see in the game, which is Cathedral Ward. But if you ask her to go there, you'll actually find, if you kill the pig in the tunnel, the red jewel brooch as the pig has killed the girl. Okay, and here we are back in Gascoigne's cemetery. I think it's the Odeon tomb, I believe. And we're going to get into a little bit further into the game. And while I'm just walking along here, I'm just going to give a bit of an update on what's going on with the channel. I'm looking to do a comic book podcast, but at the moment I'm still playing around the format. I started working on it yesterday and it didn't really flow very well, so I want to maybe look into working with someone else on the podcast just so that we can bounce ideas between each other and stuff. Because I do have everything needed for a two-person setup, so that'd be really cool. Quick update on my comic book buying. I bought quite a lot of comic books yesterday, about 15 different issues. Read most of them already. I'll be doing a review on bearsleuth.com tomorrow. And yeah, that's kind of where everything's going there. And here we are at Cathedral Ward. This is actually possibly one of my favourite cutscenes in the game because it's just like it's that nice reveal without it being just waiting behind a door. It's revealed a little bit nicer, I think. And we get a really good look at the architecture in Cathedral Ward, which is pretty interesting. I know that there's a lot going on in the architecture here, like the figurines are emblematic of something, but I haven't been searching for aspects of Bloodborne yet. And here we get the hag.
You must be.
I call her the hag. I don't know what her actual name is. I'm sure she does have a perfectly good name, but the hag does for me. Basically, if you talk to her, she kind of says that the incense in the Cathedral Ward wards away all the nasty stuff, and that you can bring nice folk here and they'll have a place that's safe where you can interact with them, which is really interesting and kind of important for the rest of the game because some of the best character interactions happen here in the Cathedral Ward as you bring more people back and kind of see them interact with each other, see you can talk to them and interact with them, and it creates these nice dynamics. You can get some good stuff by killing the hag. I'm not sure what effect this has on your later game, as it's what I did in the last playthrough, but I'm going to try this time not killing the hag and seeing where that goes. Here I'm just talking to her a couple of times to see if her dialogue changes. This happens quite a lot in Bloodborne, is that if you talk to a character multiple times, you'll often find they'll give you something or a little bit more information on the world. And here's me trying to decide where to go next from Cathedral Ward. I decide to go to the left where we'll find a couple of interesting items, and do a little bit of farming as well, because it'd be nice to get some levels up before going into the next segments of the game. So here we are, just dodging back. This is quite a common death. This body here has a full set of garb on it, but if you stand there too long, one of the old one kind of god things tries to kill you. Well, actually tries to eat you. You can't see it yet at this point of the game because you need around 40 insight to be able to see it. So all you see is the kind of the hand moving across with the otherworldly energy, which will be used to grab you and kill you. I'm pretty sure it's an insta-death. Maybe later on in the game when you've got a lot more protection and a lot higher HP, it might not be an insta-death, but every time that it's happened to me, I've died. So, there we go. This is not too hard of a fight. The easy way, well, not the easiest way, but kind of the only thing to watch out for is there's a fire in the centre. If you can kind of trick any of them to walking across the fire, it's going to do quite a bit of damage. But apart from that, this shouldn't be much of a problem for anyone who's trekked around Old Yharnam long enough. And here I am just picking up every last little bit of extra and every item that I can to kind of build up my stock and keep me kind of as powerful as possible. So this is the way to the next area after Cathedral Ward, which I'll be exploring in the video after this, which is Old Yharnam. Basically, I think you'll see in this video that I'll reveal the way into Old Yharnam. But I'm not going to go down there in this video because I want to get a bit more tanky before taking on some of the more higher leveled and more complicated enemies that you find in this is a fight that killed me a lot, mostly because of the speed of the dogs. I like to try and stay in one place and charge up an attack and take them out. When I charge up an attack, I get shot by this douche, and it creates this really nasty little encounter. In my experience, running up to the shooter works quite well. If not, just kind of dodge or keep moving while fighting the dogs. I don't think this is I don't think that was a particularly hard encounter for anyone with saw blades or threaded canes. And this is Alfred, who is a very interesting character in Bloodborne. He's a hunter of Vilebloods. You get the chance to be a Vileblood later in the story. Alfred has his own line of quests that you can do with him, and will result in you gaining certain items. He also has, if you kill him and defeat him, you'll receive the Wheel Hunter badge, which is a brilliant weapon for a strength build. You can kill him at this point, although it's a very, very tough fight, and I recommend maybe working towards it in the second time that you see him, which is in the other side of Cathedral Ward, heading up to the Grand Cathedral, which we won't be getting to for several episodes, I'd have thought. So here is the lever which pulls the tomb back, revealing the staircase down to Old Yharnam. Again, like I said, we won't be visiting there today, but that one will definitely be a port of call tomorrow. And now going back out into the Cathedral Ward area. It's at this point in the game it feels like one of the smallest areas, but actually Cathedral Ward and the areas that it kind of ties into is probably one of the largest areas that you can travel around without hitting a loading screen, which, considering that Bloodborne is loading screen the video game, is quite an achievement. It's a pretty good place to farm, at least in this kind of part of the game, because you can get enemies like this fella, who is a bit tough. he telegraphs his attacks quite well, so if you can kind of work around that, you can take him down and get a pretty hefty Blood Echo reward, which is always worth kind of trying to mine. I really do advise getting your level up to the point where you feel just a little bit overpowered, or just a little bit stronger than you should at this point in the game, because the next sections are quite tough. Not impossible, and you can deal with them, but they are quite tough, and the types of enemies that you fight suddenly changes, and that can leave you in a position to die quite a lot. I think you're probably about to see. And there we go. So after that death, my mission kind of becomes to reclaim the Blood Echoes that I've gained, because I did have quite a hefty amount of Blood Echoes. This is a cycle that you can get into Bloodborne, and it can be quite a destructive one, because you can end up chasing after Blood Echo after Blood Echo, and ending up just dying in a circle, wasting your weaponry ability, wasting your items, wasting blood vials on trying to achieve and gain Blood Echoes, as you will see in the remainder of this video. It's kind of the cycle that I get into. Sometimes if you start to find that you're in this cycle, I like to give it 2 attempts. I think 2 attempts, kind of 1 attempt to reclaim the Blood Echoes, and dying just means that again you kind of miscalculated the enemy, and you fought the enemy twice, so by the second attempt you should kind of begin to recognise the attack patterns that are gonna kill you and gonna really be a problem. If I die twice going after Blood Echoes, I like to just kind of cut my losses, start farming, and move on. It can be quite a hard thing to do, especially when there's a large amount of Blood Echoes on the line. I mean, here it's not that big amount. It's probably around like a medium amount for this point in the game, but it's still like I want to get them back, and now I want to level up, because there is enough now hanging about in the balance for a level up. So I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm going to keep trying to get them. These guys aren't too hard. Kind of the only thing that makes this encounter hard is that the ogre with the long piece of weaponry, of rubble, I don't know what you want to call it. He's quite quick and can kind of take you by surprise. And then you've got the other guy with the smaller piece of rubble can come in with like a triple attack, that if you're not prepared for it and you can't roll away from it, it's going to leave you dead pretty quickly. A tanky build like mine might be able to take 1 hit of that triple attack, but then when you've got the other ogre, it's just too much. So you have to really peel them off and deal with them like I just did. And constantly, I find that especially at this point in the game, it's sometimes better not to focus on one enemy, not to click in and focus, just because you can end up in a situation where you can't see everything going on around you, and visibility is really key in Bloodborne. And we're coming up to another death. Okay, so that's the other thing to watch out for in Bloodborne, is basically if you're going after Blood Echoes, once you get your Blood Echoes, once you get your ones that you died for, you really want to back off. Just get back to the Hunter's Dream, cash them in, don't bother with another enemy, don't bother with another fight. It just becomes too much on the line. The game of Bloodborne is all around risk and reward strategy, and when you've got blood echoes on the line, that risk is getting higher and higher. And yes, the reward's still there, but the reward in proportion to the risk is getting lower and lower. So you don't want to be doing that. You just want to be getting back, not mucking about, just kind of get back to the hunter's dream, and make life a bit easier for yourself. You can always come back, that's the thing. It's never a bad thing to be doing a trek around Bloodborne, even if you're going back to an area where you're over leveled, you're still in those blood echoes, which you can put into anything. I mean, even when you get to the very last portion of the game, if you go back to Central Yharnam and farm for a little bit, just do one run through a Central Yharnam, you've got enough for some Molotovs, you've got enough for some blood vials, those things are still going to help. If you farm it 3 times, 4 times, you're going to start getting up to a level up, and it's going to be a very low risk level up, because you're going to be at such a high level that you'll be able to deal with those sort of things. So trekking is always a good thing, but not when you're running around with blood echoes. It's just, like I say, that reward is just going down. It's not worth it. So dealing with the trolls again, the ogres. Like I said before, just peel them, deal with them. It's quite interesting. The crows get paired up with the ogres quite a lot. I like to think that this is kind of because though the crows telegraph their attacks, so they're quite easy to deal with. If a crow jumps you and an ogre is attacking at the same time, you're going to be in a really scary situation. Like, you just want to get out of there. And the crow attack like that, with an ogre attack coming through it, crow's blinding you, so you can't really see the ogre attack, and he's going to take you off guard, and he's going to absolutely mince you. So that's one to be really careful of. And here we are, just dealing with the crows again, and coming back for my blood echoes. So this is actually the second attempt of me trying to come back for the blood echoes. So there's a lot of blood echoes on the line here. I'm trying to give everything I've got here, but as you can see, that heavy attack disarms me, and I'm about to die. So that's been episode 6 of Bloodborne vs the Sleuth. Looks like today Bloodborne 1. Please subscribe, like, link, and I'll see you tomorrow.